Imagine a world isolated by thousands of miles of deep blue ocean. For centuries, the islands of Hawaii were not just a vacation destination. They were a sovereign kingdom, with a rich culture, a sophisticated legal system, and a lineage of kings and queens. By the 19th century, Hawaii was a globally recognized nation with embassies in Europe, and a people who viewed the sea not as a barrier, but as their path to the world. It was a paradise that functioned on its own terms, until the outside world decided it needed a piece of it. The first blow didn't come from soldiers, but from sugar. In the mid-1800s, American businessmen and the sons of missionaries discovered that Hawaii's volcanic soil was pure gold for sugarcane plantations. What began as trade quickly transformed into control. These men, known as the sugar barons, began to dictate the island's economy. They didn't just want to plant, they wanted the land. Hawaiian hospitality was slowly hedged in by contracts the natives barely understood, and foreign profit began to weigh heavier than local sovereignty. In 1887, the mask of diplomacy finally fell. A group of armed militias representing the interests of American businessmen forced King Kalakaua to sign a new constitution. It became known as the Bayonet Constitution. It wasn't written to govern, it was written to silence. The document stripped the voting power from the majority of native Hawaiians and handed it to foreign landowners. The king still wore the crown, but the hands moving the country now belonged to corporations that saw Hawaii only as a logistical point in the Pacific. When Queen Liliuokalani ascended to the throne in 1891, she attempted to undo the damage. She was an intellectual leader, a composer, and deeply devoted to her people. She proposed a new constitution to restore power to the Hawaiians, but for the sugar barons, a strong monarchy was a risk to their profits. They could not allow paradise to return to the hands of its original owners. In 1893, they staged a coup d'etat, illegally backed by United States Marines who landed under the guise of protecting American interests. To avoid a bloodbath of her people, Liliuokalani temporarily yielded her authority, believing that the U.S. government would act justly and restore her throne. Instead, she was imprisoned in her own palace. During her captivity, she composed songs of longing while the provisional government, led by Sanford Dole, a name you still see on pineapple cans today, declared Hawaii a republic. Paradise had been hijacked, and the hijackers were now the judges. The Queen's plea for justice was met with a cold corporate silence. The official annexation happened in 1898, driven not by democratic ideals, but by military necessity during the Spanish-American War. Hawaii was the perfect bridge for the military to reach the Philippines. Despite petitions signed by the vast majority of native Hawaiians pleading with the U.S. Congress not to annex them, the island's strategic value spoke louder than the will of its people. Hawaii ceased to be a sovereign kingdom and became a territory, a colony disguised under the flag of freedom. In the decades that followed, Hawaii was transformed into a fortress. The attack on Pearl Harbor in 1941 sealed the island's fate permanently. Hawaii was no longer just a sugar farm or an exotic getaway. It was the shield of the United States. After World War II, the movement to turn the territory into a state gained momentum. In 1959, following a plebiscite where many natives still felt marginalized, Hawaii officially became the 50th U.S. state. The star was added to the flag, but the price was the identity of an entire nation. Today, Hawaii is a postcard of beaches and resorts, but beneath the asphalt of Waikiki lies the history of a kingdom that never asked to be American. In 1993, the U.S. government issued a formal apology for the 1893 coup, acknowledging that the overthrow was illegal. But apologies do not return thrones, nor do they restore erased cultures. Hawaii teaches us that sometimes the price of progress is the disappearance of a unique world. The 50th state is a jewel in the American crown, but for many Hawaiians, it is a jewel that still carries the marks of theft.